These are remarkable stories.
The following episode contains graphic content. Listener discretion is advised.
What makes you who you are? Your name, your values, your faith, your ethics, your morals, your knowledge, your memories, your experience, your emotion, your relationship with people. That's what makes you as a unique, individual, loving, or loved person. But a place like Guantánamo, it just changed and destroyed all of that, because you end up nothing connect you to your life or to your community or to your family, totally disconnected from yourself and the world. And the machinery of Guantánamo designed to break you and to change you. You were given a number, I was 441. And now you are living with the new people, detainees from different parts of the world, 50 countries, over 20 languages spoken, all kind of people, different mindset, different culture. And there is many barriers, the language, age differences, different life experience. So when you stay at Guantánamo, it's like a unique prison, unlike any other prison, because in other prison, there's like a system of imprisonment. There is rules. They have like some kind of structure. Guantánamo, nothing like that. No rules. They don't know what to do to you. They keep inventing rules every single day. And you don't know why you were there or for how long or what's going to happen to you.
Mansoor Adayfi's story is not a story of suffering and torture. It's a story of hope and resilience, a story of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. When I first encountered Mansoor, I was confused. I was confused by the absence of hate in his voice, by the way he spoke about the men and women who had guarded him in Guantánamo, and by the fact that he was simply likable as a human being. Energetic, intelligent, witty, and frankly, happy. So I really wanted to know, who is Mansoor Adayfi and what is his story? Talking about Guantánamo is hard. It's an ugly subject from an ugly period that's honestly just easier to bury and ignore. And what I'm asking you to do in this two-part episode might be hard, too. I'm asking you to just let go and listen. Listen to a story told by a man from a small mountain village in Yemen, a man who was snatched out of thin air at the age of 18 and stashed away in a cage on a Caribbean island for 14 years, worlds removed from everything and everyone that he knew. Some of what Mansoor has to say might just surprise you. I'm John Herlig, and these are remarkable stories.
Let us fly back to my life, living in a small village, tribal society, almost totally away from the world. We had no electricity, no running water, nothing. Nothing connected us to the modern life. And in our small farm, we had chicken, we had some cows, donkeys, we had a dog, Samra. So the dog, do their job, guarding everyone, everything. And if you ever try to insult the dog or curse, he will be punished worse than anything. It's not allowed to insult or to beat animals. Sometimes the folks came and they hunt the chicken or took one of the chicken. And my father was mad at our dog. Samra, where have you been? Why the fox did this? This is bad. You're doing your job. Look, now we are losing this. And one day we set up a time like early at that morning, and the fox came. She was cornered. My father hold a gun, and he saw the fox. She was pregnant. So he just grabbed her. He's like, don't come back here ever. Do you understand? He let her go. And I heard my father say, we all want the same thing, to live and survive. After 14 years at Guantánamo, one day I was in the rickyard by myself walking, and somehow I heard a dog barking. That sound just shifted me away immediately to my hometown. 14 years back, in just a glimpse of an eye. Now I was in Yemen, surrounded with the coffee plants. It was part of my life, part of my memories. And there was a time when I struggled to remember even my sister's names. So that sound it brought me back to myself, It freed me even for seconds. It's something from your past. Because, John, when you are being in jail, you will start constructing a new life, a new memories, a new knowledge, a new experience, a new relationship, a new emotion, a new you. This is fact. Everything related to your jail, like torture, interrogation, hunger strike, beating, protest, everything that's it. That's who you are now. So the more you stay, you are going deep in that tunnel or in that well or whatever you call it, or in that dark hole.
Where you're losing your previous self.
Yes.
While you build a new one.
Yes.
In a new place.
Exactly, because what makes you who you are, your name, your values, your faith, your ethics, your morals, your knowledge, your memories, your experience, your emotion, your relationship with people. That's what makes you as a unique, individual, loved person. But a place like Guantánamo, it just changed and destroyed all of that, because you end up nothing connect you to your life or to your community or to your family, totally disconnected from yourself and the world. And the machinery of Guantánamo designed to break you and to change you. You were given a number. I was 441. And now you are living with the new people, new detainees from different parts of the world, 50 countries, over 20 languages spoken, all kind of people, different mindset, different culture. And there is many barriers, the language, age differences, different life experience. So when you stay at Guantánamo, it's like a unique prison, unlike any other prison, because in other prison, there's a system of imprisonment. There is rules. They have some kind of infrastructure. Guantánamo, nothing like that. They didn't know what to do to you. They keep inventing rules every single day. And you didn't know why you were there, or how long, or what's going to happen to you. We, at the beginning, we thought, okay, it's 2 months, then 6 months. We started counting days, then weeks, then months, then years, then decades. And Guantánamo turned to be an experimenting in humans. It was designed that way. They can started to develop the enhanced interrogation technique, or we call it enhanced torture technique.
I wanted an expert's input into what happened in Guantánamo, and so I contacted Mark Fallon, author of the book Unjustifiable Means.
My name is Mark Fallon. I was the NCIS Deputy Assistant Director for Counterterrorism. I was the Chief of Counterintelligence Operations for the Europe, Africa, and Middle East Division. I was the commander of the USS Cole Task Force. And after the attacks of September 11th, I was the Deputy Commander, Special Agent in Charge, and Chief Investigator for the Al-Qaeda Terrorist Network for trials before military commissions at Guantánamo Bay, Cuba.
Mansoor Adayfi is a victim of U.S. state-sponsored torture. He is the unintended consequence, right, of this. Someone who was not a member of Al-Qaeda, was not a threat to the United States. What we did after 9/11 is we replicated the same type of prisoner treatment that the North Koreans and communists had inflicted upon our service members in North Korea and elsewhere. This is a product that tries to induce what is called learned helplessness, and the goal was demonstrated omnipotence. This is actually within the standard operating procedures of the conditions in which prisoners were held. And what it tries to do is break the will of the prisoner and make them compliant. It goes back to scientific experiments the CIA conducted under what was called MK Ultra. Project X in Vietnam was about prisoner torture. You could move forward to Latin America when they kept changing the name of this to HRE, human resource exploitation is what the CIA called it when the term interrogation became a little too dirty for them, because they were not really doing interrogations as far as eliciting information from people. They were conducting interrogations to make the person compliant and to possibly turn that person into a source.
So imagine 10, 15, or 20 years at that place. There's a huge gap in my life.
It was just simply missing. So I want to walk through the series of events that led you to get there, because obviously the story doesn't exist without those. So you were 18, trying to get into university in, I think, Oman, had been sent to Afghanistan to do research. And it was in Afghanistan that you were kidnapped. I think you were with another person at the time. Is that correct?
Yeah, the story started, also let's go back to my village. In my village, we didn't have high school. When I finished my secondary school, my mother told me, now you are going to go to live with your aunt in Sana'a to finish your high school. So Sana'a is a city, but I didn't know what the city even looked like, because we had no TVs. So they said, okay, you're going to the city. City is big. There's a lot of people. No matter what you told me, I would never imagine it. And I was spent, the last few days with my sisters, wishing me luck. And, you are lucky. You travel. And
going to the big city.
Yeah. And you are going to forget us. And so I promise you. And one of my sisters, see my best friend. I said, no, I'll never forget you. So I got into the car. Then when we arrived the city, it was night. Wow. It was I just to the window looking, whoa! I was like a lot of lights and beautiful, those lights. I don't know what electricity means. I study about it in school, but I want to jump from the car. So then we arrived with at my aunt. This was one of the longest nights in my life, because I went the morning to camp so I can go out and see everything. So in my aunt's house, there was you can turn electricity on one button. And the kitchen, they didn't have to put wood and smoke and so on. It was easy, the oven. And there's a TV too. Wow. I'm I started playing with the light, with the TV. Then the first day I went with my brother and one with my cousin went out. I was going in the store, talking to the people. Hey, I'm Mansoor. What's your name? What you're doing here? So then I finished my high school there, and I used to study in high school and sometimes live in the Islamic Institute, just study Arabic and history. And I get to know a lot of people who came to study in the institute from different parts of the world, because it's free and it have really good education in Arabic. And I end up working in the foreign affairs students, helping with their visas, passport problems, and so on. Yeah, I wanted to study computer science, but there was only private school, college, really expensive.
Okay. So I want to walk through, not at any agonizingly slow pace, but I want to walk through the series of events. So you were 18, right? When you were on a path trying to get into university in, I think, Oman, if I recall correctly, right? And had been sent to Afghanistan to do research. And it was in Afghanistan that you were kidnapped. I think you were with another person at the time. Is that correct?
Going to Afghanistan was part of a research mission. One of the Yemeni scholars, he wanted to write a book about Afghanistan. He was asked by the Saudi official and Yemeni official to write that book. So for me, it was my chance. because for a long time I was asking him for a referral letter to go to study my computer science degree. So he was looking for a long time for someone, to go to Afghanistan. So I told him, okay. He said, okay, when you get back, I'm going to prepare your letter that you can finish your university. So I went to Afghanistan and I was research assistant. So we started, meeting people and talking. And because at that time there is no Google, no internet. At that time it was really wasn't like as easy as now. So my friend was driving the car. We were followed by a few cars, and there was like machine guns. And at first, we were taken to one of the warlords, and he went, ransom. Then when American came, American offered more money, a large amount of money for anyone who can bring Arabs or foreigners. So they sold us to the American, to the CIA, basically for bounty money. It symbols that. It's many stories like this.
So you have a very poor, impoverished country, and out of aircraft, flyers are dropped. And the flyers said, get wealth and power beyond your dreams. You can receive millions of dollars helping the anti-Taliban forces catch Al-Qaeda and Taliban murderers. This is enough money to take care of your family, your village, your tribe for the rest of your life. Pay for livestock and doctors and school, books, and housing for all of your people. And so these flyers were dropped, all to these villages of a lot of highly uneducated people, a lot of impoverished people, a lot of people who were starving. By Western standards, it would be hard to comprehend the living conditions that these people had lived under in Afghanistan. And so these leaflets were dropped. And so warlords got these, and tribal elders and leaders, and said, we could take care of our villages and our people. And so they just started turning people over to first to invading forces, some to Pakistan, others. And then what we wound up doing, it was really just human trafficking.
Afghanis sold their own neighbors. If they have any problem with anyone, they just kidnap them. Okay, this Al-Qaeda, this Taliban commander. It's like range from $5,000 until like 1 million, And many people were sold like in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, like this. Many people.
We got lots and lots of dirt farmers, as I called them, because they came from these areas that they couldn't even grow vegetables in. And so while Guantánamo was established under the premise of it was for the worst of the worst, that's not what happened. Those prisoners should have been screened in Afghanistan. They never should have left country. What should happen is a preliminary screening interview should occur. And if there's not evidence of a war crime and not evidence that they were engaged in fighting, they should have been released.
Do you know how much money the CIA paid the warlord for you?
I think around $150,000. Yes.
Purported to be an Egyptian Al-Qaeda recruiter, is that right?
The higher rank you give them, the more money you got. So The price, they can pay as much as they want. Doesn't matter.
And you were 18 years old.
I turned 19 in the black side.
Was it in Kandahar that your, I guess, captors, I don't know, whatever, the armed forces who were holding you, who had decided, based on what the warlords told them when they paid for you, that you were an Al-Qaeda recruiter or whatever it was that when they tried to get you to sign a piece of paper that stated that if you attempted to escape, they could shoot you?
Yes, that was Kandahar.
That's a real thing. They wanted you to sign a piece of paper that says, if I try to escape, sure, go ahead and shoot me.
Yeah, crazy, John. I was like, I'm not going to sign my death. No, you have to sign. I said, I'm not signing. And the interpreter and the brother, sign. I said, no. I was beating over and over again. I'm not signing. They took my hand and they signed it like, I said, no, that doesn't count. I didn't sign. Shut up.
They put the pen in your hand and moved your hand across the paper. Was this your first act of saying, you might control me physically, but you can't control my soul? I don't have to say yes to what you want me to say yes to.
No, I started that in the black side.
Okay.
Because I was hung all the time, naked, and I don't want to go into details, but
yeah,
I wanted to pray. and you're not allowed to pray. I was praying while like hang, and
Okay.
I would get slapped in my mouth over and over again, like bleeding, and said, "Hey, you cannot stop me." But I have to speak out if there is something wrong. This is how my father, my mother told me. If something wrong, speak out, but with respect. So in Kandahar, I said, you have no right to ask me this. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to let you control me. Simple as that. They used to tell me, we are in total control. You are ours now. Your ass belongs to us now. I said, no. And also in Kandahar, I get a lot of beating for standing for other brothers. So when they transferred me from Kandahar to Guantánamo, they put around my neck a sign, beat me. So I get beating every 15 minutes. They come to beat you for like 1 minute or 30 seconds or 2 minutes, all the way until we arrive at Guantánamo.
Here's Mark Fallon again.
The black site torture was much worse than anyone had experienced at Guantanamo. It was done in secret. The prisoners, the detainees, were never supposed to see the light of day. We still have Abu Zubaydah at Guantanamo Bay, who the CIA claimed was the number 3 in Al-Qaeda, claimed that he had knowledge of an imminent attack. It was all fabricated information. And so what the CIA did is their first test case was Abu Zubaydah, and they went to the administration and claimed that they needed to utilize these techniques to save lives. Because remember, that was part of their design. We have to say that we can save lives so that no one holds us accountable. Abu Zubaydah was not even a member of Al-Qaeda. He was a logistics guy. He would help when people's travel. He had a guest house they could stay at, but he was not a member of Al-Qaeda. And so Abu Zubaydah remains at Guantanamo Bay, not because of what he did to us, because of what we did to him, because the CIA wanted assurances that Abu Zubaydah would never see the light of day. And so that's why we have this debacle at Guantanamo called military commissions, because we continue to try to hide, classify, and redact anything that would shed complicity over the torturers or their advocates.
So you were 19 when you arrived in Guantanamo. You speak virtually no English at the time. And as you wrote in the book, in your words, hate was everywhere. So you're young, very young, disoriented, right? Abused, beaten, not charged with a crime, ripped away from your family. I believe it was early in your days in Guantanamo that Princess came into your life. I'm curious because, and before you answer, this is your story, right? This is the two sides. This is beauty amidst pain and hope when you're hopeless. And Princess felt, as I read your story, like one of the first little pieces of hope that crawled into your life when you were in Guantanamo. Tell me if I'm wrong, and tell everyone who's listening about Princess.
Oh, my dear Princess. This is one of the beautiful moments at Guantanamo. After being in the dark, in the black side dark, and Kandahar, after a long journey of hardship and beating, and we arrived at Guantanamo. When we arrived, it was like a piece of hell. And the moment they took the hood of my head, when they threw me to the cage naked, they took the hood of my head. When I opened my eyes, I couldn't see anything. Bright light, and because spending, I think, over 40 hours just hooded that way, it was like trying to adjust my hearing. I couldn't sleep all the way. I wanted to pray at the first thing because I was confused with the prayer time. So I wanted to pray and I wanted to go to sleep. The moment I stood up to pray, they called the IRF team, immediate reaction force.
IRF, immediate reaction force, and they referred to it as the IRF team.
Yes, they throw me to the floor, They beat me so hard, There's no talking. You cannot talk, you cannot stand, you cannot do anything. You cannot even look at the guards. Everything, don't, shouting, yelling.
Are they communicating these rules to you through an interpreter or just somehow expecting you to learn?
No. There was no interpreter. They just shouting at you. Eyes down! Don't look at me! Don't talk! Don't stand! Wake up! Oh. They wake us up all night. Every 30 minutes they would come. Detainee! Wake up! Then they ask you to reorganize your stuff. Every 30 minutes.
To move your things.
To move like in certain order.
Right.
The first time I did it, the second, I would never do it. No, I would like in Arabic. Go! Shouting like, Ruh! And if you refuse, RFT. I think they wanted to send a message. They want to tame us. So my brother, he was a Danish guy. He was smart and educated. He said, Mansoor, please, brother, calm down. They want to tame you. Show them that I said, no, I'm not going to do it. This is so wrong. It's so stupid, He said, Mansoor, the point is they will beat you. They will want an example. Anyway, I saw unexpected visitors walk around, iguanas, 2 of them. One of them walked closely, or like talking to her. Hi. And it was, so beautiful, so kind, so I named her like the princess.
Princess the iguana. Did she visit you regularly?
It became like a friendship. They would come to our cages. They would come all the time without any clearance. The guards cannot even touch them. They cannot even shower them.
Yeah, I believe you wrote in the book that the iguanas had more rights than you.
Yes, because, they are a endangered species and they have more rights than anyone.
They got into Guantánamo without papers. I would like, because I think it's important, to speak a little bit about the time that General Miller was in charge at Guantánamo.
Before General Miller, there was some kind of confliction between the generals there. One of the generals, he wanted to treat detainees according to Geneva Convention. The others, they were against it. There was like some kind of conflict. There was no rules. So one of the generals reported to the Pentagon that 90% of the prisoners at Guantánamo, they shouldn't be there. They have no connection to Al-Qaeda or Taliban. 86% of the prisoners were either mistaken identity or sold for bounty money. He was immediately removed, and they were sent General Jeffrey Miller.
Oh, so there was a general who reported these statistics that you just referenced.
Yes.
And that general was removed.
Immediately. And they were sent General Jeffrey Miller.
The first I met General Miller, I wrote a famous email that said this kind of stuff congressional hearings are made of. Jeff Miller came into Guantanamo Bay as a commander to really implement the EIT program within the Department of Defense. The CIA calls it enhanced interrogation techniques, but that's just a term they made up. It's just excuses to inflict torture program. So the EIT program was the application of SEER techniques to create demonstrated omnipotence over the person. To do so, you need to control the conditions of confinement. So when Guantanamo was established, there were 3 primary task forces at work. JTF 160, which was the jailer, which had military police officers who were trained in custodial operations, right? So that was to maintain the prison. And General Bacchus was the JTF 160 commander. I was the deputy commander of the CITF, Criminal Investigation Task Force, responsible for the criminal investigations of prisoners at Guantanamo for trials for military commission. And then you had JTF 170, which was the intelligence component, which at the time was headed by General Michael Dunleavy. When the Department of Defense sought to apply the SEER-based EIT approaches, these tactics, on prisoners at Guantanamo, to replicate what the CIA did, they needed to control the conditions of confinement because you wanted to control the temperature, you wanted to control the diet, you wanted to control the lighting conditions. To demonstrate omnipotence, you couldn't just do it in the interrogation room. And so General Jeffrey Miller was sent in to merge JTF 160 with JTF 170 and established JTF Guantánamo so that you had one unified commander that controlled both the conditions of confinement and the interrogation practice as the CIA did. The only thing that they didn't control was the CITF, was our task force. And so we had a separate reporting chain, fortunately. I did not report to General Miller. I did not report to Southcom in Miami, which General Miller reported to, or to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which was the reporting chain for General Miller. I reported directly to the Secretary of Defense Office of General Counsel, to a principal deputy general counsel established for Guantanamo for detainee matters. And so I had a separate reporting chain. And so it enabled me to oppose those methods. It enabled me to challenge General Miller and General Dunleavy about their practices. And the whole reason that they merged those two was because of the opposition that the CITF had made against the Department of Defense's first torture victim under sanctioned torture, which was Mohammed al-Qahtani, prisoner 63 at Guantanamo. And when we opposed that, both in methodology, in their lawfulness, in their morality, in their efficacy, it caused Donald Rumsfeld to have to sign his signature onto these new practices. And that's actually what was his undoing. He could not claim it was just some soldiers on the night shift anymore, because we actually had him sign a document to allow torture to spread within the Department of Defense.
General Jeffrey Miller, the first day he assumed command of the detention, he searched and beat almost everyone. I am here, ladies. I'm going to kick your ass. And when he came, he started waterboarding, sexual assault, everything. They were working with some psychologists and military advisors and so on. So now the hell really started.
Be sure to tune back in for part 2 of Mansoor's story. Mansoor Adayfi currently lives in Belgrade, Serbia. His book is called Don't Forget Us Here, Lost and Found at Guantanamo. Mark Fallon is the co-founder of Project Aletheia, which was established to bridge the gap between the science and practice of interrogation. His book is called Unjustifiable Means, the inside story of how the CIA, Pentagon, and U.S. government conspired to torture.
Remarkable Stories is made by Boat Radio. It is written and produced by John Herlig and Mike McDowell. Our stories are edited in the Boat Radio studios in sunny Mallorca. If you like today's show, consider sharing it with a friend or leaving us a 5-star review wherever you listen. For everyone at Remarkable Stories, I am Elizabeth Schrey saying thanks for listening.